helped was I just decided to think about what I could control, which was the time I spent with Dad. And I just focused on spending more time and doing what I could to spend as much time as possible. Sorry, can we take a break?
Welcome to Positive Changes with Mike. I've got a very special guest, which is my beautiful daughter, Meg. Say hello, Meg.
Hello, Meg.
And we're going to cover a topic which I really struggled with. This is about what you say to your children. So when I thought I was diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't sure what to tell Meg. And after all the tests, so I think this may be happening. And so what I'm going to do is just run through a bunch of questions, and hopefully this will help you in any decisions you've got. Before we get into questions, is there anything you want to say?
No, looking forward to getting into it. Have a chat.
Oh, we'll get into it then. So I'm going to go the other side of the camera and see you in a mo. Okay. So Meg's now 25, and we just wanted to open up and just have a honest discussion about what I mentioned, what it felt like for her, what you want other families to know. And our hope is by sharing how she felt, she can help other people find the courage and understanding they need when having these conversations with their own children and loved ones. Here's the question. The first one. Meg, when you first heard about my diagnosis, what went through your mind in that moment?
I think it's definitely fear initially. You hear the word cancer and you panic basically, don't you? And I think it's not something anybody wants to hear about somebody they love. And you see your parents as this very solid, everlasting thing. And I think it's the first time I really considered that, something could happen. It could happen maybe sooner than you think. So it was definitely, it's definitely scary at first. I just wanted to make sure Dad was okay. And so that's definitely my initial reaction.
So your initial reaction was one of fear and then wondering what's going to happen. Okay. Looking back, do you feel I should have told you when cancer was only a possibility, or should I have waited until I had all the diagnosis and absolutely knew?
I'm really glad you told me when you did. I think that it's not something anybody wants to face at any point, but the more time you have to process things, the better. I was also glad that I could be there for you as, even though your daughter, like that I could be a part of that and to feel like maybe I was supporting you in a small way. I'm glad. So, and as things happen, the operations happened and the actual process of everything happening is happening later than the diagnosis. But in some circumstances, it could have been a very quick process. And I think the more time to process that and to understand what's happening, the better, because as it's gone on and I've understood more, those feelings of fear have subsided. And so I'm really glad that you told me when you did.
So how did the way I told you about my illness affect how you processed it? So the way that I explained, was it okay, or should I have found another way to tell you?
You told me what you knew at the time, and you told me it as you were finding out, and that's the best way. I knew you were going in for the colonoscopy. I didn't really consider what that meant, but you just told me what you knew, which at the time wasn't much, and I don't think you could have done it any differently or any better, because I think if you'd have tried to mask it more, it wouldn't have helped anything, because I know you so well as well, and I can understand, I think I can read you quite well. So I think just being really upfront with everything you knew at every stage was the best thing that you could have done. I don't think there's a better way that you could have told me.
So that links into what you said earlier about being able to process everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So Meg, what would you want other parents to know about how to talk to their children, even adult children, especially something as serious as cancer?
I think I can obviously only speak from being an adult. It might be different if I had been a child, but I think the honesty is really key, and being upfront, and understanding that there probably will be a reaction of some sort that would look different for everybody, but that it's a really important part of the process, and being able to just speak to them really, yeah, I keep coming back to the honesty, I think, and the allowing them time to react. I think I kind of, not worried, but I felt like Dad was very calm, and I felt very not calm. But understanding that everybody might have different reactions, and as an adult as well, yeah, like treating them like an adult and understanding that they know you and they want what's best for you and they love you, and I wanted to be there for Dad to support them, and giving me that opportunity was really important to support him and be there for him.
So fundamentally, what you would suggest to other parents is just be honest and talk to them when they can.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Question 5, so we're halfway there. What helped you feel supported during this time, and what would have made it easier for you?
My friends and my network made me feel really supported. Being, I think, feeling like I could express how I felt to people and taking it day by day was important. In terms of other things that can help, I think I process things a lot myself. That's something that helps me. I didn't feel the need to speak to a counsellor or to speak to, but for some people that might be more of a thing. And having a lot of information. I think I remember asking Dad after his first consultation for a lot of the information, different facts, different things, different outcomes that had been considered, so that in my brain I could consider the reality of lots of different things. So that was something that really helped me. I'm not sure whether that's support so much, but yeah, I would say friends were a really, really big support, and being able to talk to people was an important part of it.
Did you ever feel helpless? And if so, what could I or others have done to make you feel more included or empowered?
I mean, I think it's a bit of a powerless situation anyway. You feel like it's happening, it's not, it is something that's happening, and I think helpless is maybe a natural part of that, but I'm not sure that there's anything. I think that was very much, I think of the last sort of 6 months or so, almost in stages, and definitely more in that initial stage, I felt helpless. But something that massively helped was I just decided to think about what I could control, which was the time I spent with Dad. And I just focused on spending more time and doing what I could to spend as much time as possible. Sorry,
Okay.
can we take a break?
Okay. Brilliant, Meg. You're doing so well. Thank you. I'm sure this is really going to help a lot of people. Let me ask you, what advice would you give to families who are unsure how to share with their children at different stages of testing and diagnosis?
I think I've covered what I would probably describe as advice accidentally. I think the honesty, the including them in the process, the respecting that they are a part of it and are going to have their own emotions and are going to have, and that might look different, I think, for different people. But I think, yeah, respect, listening to them. I mean, it's hard because I think the most important, it's not about them really. They will just want to be there for you.
Yeah.
And remembering that.
Okay. Thank you. And the same thing seems to keep coming up about the honesty and being open. So just a couple of questions left now. One of these, I think you've covered quite a lot, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Sure.
Okay. So, what role did honesty, reassurance, or simply being present play in how you coped, or how you're coping?
I think it played a big role. And obviously I don't live at home, but knowing that I had faith that whatever was happening with Dad, I knew that he would tell me, and that was important. And so it meant that I didn't feel the need to be constantly checking in, to be, you know, any news, which probably wouldn't have been helpful for Dad anyway. So I could just focus on us spending time together, and knew that when there was news, when there was updates, Dad would tell me. But that allowed me to kind of carry on living my life as normal as possible. And so I think that's really important, that I had enough, that because Dad had been so honest with me, I had enough trust that if there was anything to tell me, he would, and I didn't need to keep, worrying about him more than the base level.
Last two questions. Do you feel our relationship has changed since we went through this experience together?
We've always been very close. I think I've seen a bit more vulnerability in you sometimes than I think it probably has improved. I feel like more of the time when I've asked how you are, you've probably given me a more honest answer, maybe, whereas in the past there might have been maybe things that you didn't show me as much. I feel like maybe I've seen a bit more, which has been nice. I feel like I've been able to tell you about my fears relating to how Dad's going to be, how things have happened. We've been able to discuss that. So yeah, I think while we've always been close, there's definitely been, we've communicated about things that maybe we haven't talked about as much before without noticing. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's probably changed because you're older now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the final question that I've got, which you're probably glad to hear about, is
Not at all, I'm enjoying it.
if you could speak to someone your age whose parent had just been diagnosed, what message would you want to give them?
I think I would want to tell them that in your head, I think you hear cancer and you just think they're going to die. That's like the first thought I think most people have. And then it doesn't mean that. Obviously, Dad's still on his journey, but there's a whole, spectrum of things that can happen. And I think I would tell them what I mentioned earlier, that focusing on spending time with their parent is, I think, the best thing, because no matter what, you're never going to regret having had more time with them. But yeah, something that is not directly related to the question, but I've noticed is that since this, whereas before, when people told me that parents or loved ones or themselves have been diagnosed with things, whether it's cancer or something else, or just going through an illness of any kind, I used to feel like I used to feel like I didn't really know what to say, how to react, how to maybe be a good friend to them. But since it's been me, I feel like I've been able to, when it's been other people, friends who are in a similar situation, I feel I've been able to be a better friend to them, because I recognise that what they want isn't somebody to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, but just probably somebody to talk about the practicalities, and who just, still, that it's still their dad and it's still, or whoever. And so that's something that's positive that's come out of it. Is, I would say that there are things that it changes you in some ways that are quite good, and that's quite been a nice thing that's come out of it all. Yeah.
Meg, that's lovely. Thank you. So that's all the questions I've got for you. Is there anything that you want to add?
I think we've covered. I think the big thing is that, it's a process, and maybe if there is anybody in my shoes, that I think initially I would have some guilt if, I don't know, it could be something as simple as Dad sent me a TikTok and then I was busy and I wouldn't watch it then. And then I would think, what if that's one of the last TikToks Dad ever sends me? Which sounds, and like I would have these moments of like, or I think, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And that's really not helpful. And that doesn't help Dad, that doesn't help me, doesn't help anybody involved. So to try your best to just continue as normal and not treat them like a patient, not to be, poor old Dad, like just enjoy, like I've said before, enjoy spending time with them.
Enjoying the time is really important. Meg, thanks for sharing and being so open and from your heart today. I can tell this has been a bit challenging, but I really appreciate your honesty. Thanks. And it's times like this that should remind us that a cancer diagnosis doesn't just affect the person going through it, but also those around us. And we're not going to mention anyone's names, but I've got, as you know, there's someone very close which has been diagnosed, and it seems a bit more serious than what I've got. And it's sometimes easier as the person going through it than those loved ones around. And I just want to finish this off by saying if anybody's watching this and facing something similar, I hope Meg's words have given you reassurance, ideas, and comfort. And now you might help these people in your lives. So thanks for being with us. Until next time, be good, take care of yourselves, and much love from me and Meg.
Thank you.
Ta-da!
Bye.